G'day to all my friends and welcome to another episode of Jim's 5am Club. It's Wednesday. It's a beautiful old Wednesday, as you can see. A little bit of smoke in the air, but it's a beautiful autumn day. There's a lot of sun coming through. There's the sun shimmering on the harbour, and it's 9 o'clock, 9:15, and it's a wonderful day emerging. So thank you very much for joining me for this second episode of Jim's 5am Club for the day. I did one at 5:30 this morning, and this is the second for today, and I do plan to do 4, as I need to get 4 a day in order to hit my goal of 1,000 vlogs in English by the 27th of May, which is my birthday. So let's go on a walk and talk, and I want to have a chat to you today about a book summary. And the book that I'll take us through is entitled How We Learn, and it's written by an author named Benedict Carey. Benedict Carey. So where do we start? I always love this sort of material because learning how to learn is something that we can all benefit from, and it's something that regardless of what age you are, it's a lesson that we can incorporate into our lives. So the author kicks off the book with a quote, and the quote is as follows: that using our memories changes our memories. It's a very simple quote, but quite profound to say the least. The way we use our memory changes our memory. And where do we go? How do we use this? So the first formal point to come out of the book is where the author says that not all memories are created equal. Like that in itself is a real powerful sort of message. Not all memories are created equal. Because you think through life, you accumulate memories and you do things, and you believe that a lot of the stuff that you do is something that you'll be able to recall. But the author here is reminding us that not all memories are created equal. Because memories are formed when neurons create new connections. So there's a science to how memories are created, and as the author is saying, the memory is created when neurons create new connections. So it's all about connections. It's always about connecting and firing up these connections. And the more you fire them up, the more deeper, the more recall you can get of that memory. So let's look at a bit of the technical side of it first before we can go into the practical side in terms of how we can make it work for us. So we've got neurons in our brain, which are brain cells, and the author says that these neurons are joined by a thing called a bridge or a connector, and that connection, the bridge between the neurons, is called a synapse. So it's really, really important to understand that. And when a memory or habit is recalled, this synapse grows thicker and makes it easier to recall it in the future. So I guess the more things that we recall, the more regular we recall things, the more thicker the synapse becomes, and the more clearer, I guess, and deeper and bigger that memory becomes. The author then goes on to remind us, and it's important to understand this, that different memories are stored in different parts of our brains. They're not all stored in the same place at the same time. they're compartmentalized at different parts of our brain. And new memories, this is important for us, especially those who are in their 60s and 70s. Our new memories are stored in a part of our brain called the hippocampus. And the Alzheimer's and mental disease damages the hippocampus. And that is why we lose our short-term memory. So a lot of people who are suffering Alzheimer's can remember all the old stuff really, really clearly, but they're absolutely hopeless and helpless when it comes to remembering what they did just a couple of minutes ago. So what the author here says is that the hippocampus, that part of the brain which remembers the stuff that we've just done, the most recent memories, is damaged by Alzheimer's. But Alzheimer's leaves the neocortex, the other part of the brain which has the older memories, it leaves that intact. So that's the technical reason behind why Alzheimer's impacts us the way we impacted. So the author also goes on to say that the more synapses, the more synapses in different locations of the brain that we're able to fire, the easier and the better the recall is. So understanding that if we can engage and create memories and link them together from different parts of our brains using different senses, smell, hearing, touch, what else is there? Touch, flavour, and if we do it and try and escalate that sensation, then it's easier for us to remember things. When I was preparing my Father of the Bride speeches for my daughters, I made a point to go to places where I had some really strong memories of my daughters. I'd go to places such as netball courts, little athletics fields, and I'd sit in the middle of the field where I had some really strong emotional connection, and I would shout out the speech at the top of my voice and feel the emotion of where I was to help anchor that speech and enable me to be able to deliver it as best I possibly could on the night of the wedding. So So what the author is also telling us here is that we need to incorporate that spacing, as we talked about before, to enable us to remember things long term. So to use, as we said, the different senses of our bodies, the touch, the feel, the smell, the visual, but to use it with strong emotion, and that'll help us recall it even better in the future. The author then goes on to give us a couple of tips, and I think we've heard these time and time again, but it's always wise to recall them and to reuse them. When we meet a new person, it's important to repeat their name over and over and over again, and to use their name as early as we can in that conversation or that transaction so that we can remember it. And also, of course, to try and create some associations. What the author says here also is that recalling is really, really powerful for our memory. And if we're able to space out the recall, then it will help us in future to be able to remember it better and to create strong synapses and build that bridge between the neurons. So what he's suggesting here is that when we study, you're better off studying and doing something over 4 2-hour sessions rather than 1 8-hour session, because by spacing it out, by recalling it and doing those sorts of techniques will help you be better at creating a strong memory and to be able to enable it to be filed away in your long-term memory for use later on. The author then also talks to us about the Zeigarnik effect to boost our memory and creativity. And I love this Zeigarnik effect, and it's popped up in a number of book summaries. So just to explain it one more time, because if we explain it over and over in different ways, sooner or later we're all going to understand it and make use of it in our daily lives. So in effect, the Zeigarnik effect is described as follows. Our brain opens a loop once you start a project or task, and if you leave that task or project unfinished, your brain will continue to nag you about it until you complete that task or project. So that's why it's important to finish off as many tasks as you can. So you know how we've got a to-do list? You know, once you start something, it's important to try and finish it as quickly as you can, because what you don't finish, your brain will worry about and will agonize over until you complete it. And the reason for this is that we humans are teleological in nature. We need to complete whatever we start in order to, to feel comfortable and to relax. And it's in our nature. But we can use it to our advantage as well. What the author suggests here is that we can use the Zeigarnik effect as follows. So when you're working on a task or a project which is complex and can't be completed immediately, the best thing to do is to interrupt that task or project midpoint or halfway through. And then what you do is you allow the Zeigarnik effect to help you, to partner with you, to solve it and to determine a most suitable solution. Because what happens is you partner with your subconscious. So if you're not working on it consciously and you interrupt it and you stop it and you start working on something else, or you indulge in deep play, or you just relax, go to sleep, go have a shower, go for a swim, go on a holiday, your subconscious will be continuing to mull over that project or task and figuring it out in the background. And you'll have a potential spark of genius, an aha moment when you least expect it. And that's why sometimes when we're most relaxed, when we're most away from our work, we actually come up with the best solutions. Because simply put, our subconscious has a greater capacity to process complex things and works best when it's relaxed, when it's distracted, and when it's operating in the background. And what it does is it allows for unbelievable, awesome solutions to manifest themselves automatically when you least expect it. So once again, there are some techniques that this book brings about, which can allow us to make the most of our brains, make the most of our memories, and also know that not all memories are created equal, but we can use our capability. We can use the science that we know behind memory and recall to make us better equipped at recalling things and making the most of it. So I think I'll leave it there. So thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5am Club, where we went through the book summary, How to Learn by Benedict Carey. And we'll finish off with the positive affirmation. I'm alive, I am well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, stay reasonable, and let's make the most. Let's make the most of this day and this beautiful day. I can feel the sun just beaming across the harbour. I can feel the reflection from the sun and also from the sun glistening off the water and the pavement. It is a beautiful day. So I look forward to coming to you again from a different location with a different message, a message of empowerment, where we can be the wind beneath our wings, the wave beneath our board, the zephyr filling our sails and fluttering our flags, and the turbine and propellers that surge our boats forward in a direction to where we want to head. So we'll chat again. We'll chat again shortly, and I'll come to you again at lunchtime, where we go through another book summary, where we learn something new, something that can lift us, get us through the morning, get us through the day, where we can live, learn, and pass it on. And I'm one step closer to achieving my goal of 1,000 vlogs in English. Got about 135 to go. So if I'm pumping out 4 or 5 a day, I'll get there over the next month, and can't wait to present episode 1000, because when I get to episode 1000, it will be the starting point of my vlogging, because I will know that I will have learnt a lot over the past year, and I'll be able to incorporate all of those learnings into developing a program of personal development, and be able to share it with my friends and family over the coming years. Take care, Pedya. Wishing you all the best, and thank you for joining me on this Voltula. Bye for now, Filakya, and we'll chat again soon.